Pentaho Data Integration, or PDI, is an ETL tool that facilitates the process of capturing, cleansing, and storing data. Despite PDI strengths, business needs continue to demand greater technological flexibility and adaptability, meaning alternative solutions for orchestrating data pipelines are more necessary than ever. Apache Airflow provides this much-needed flexibility and adaptability, and we've developed a migration tool that will accelerate the migration of your existing Pentaho pipelines to Airflow and can help save migration efforts by 40 to 70%. We've developed a tool that will accelerate the migration of your existing Pentaho pipelines to Airflow and can help save migration efforts by 40 to 70%. This migration occurs in two phases. In phase 1, the tool reads Pentaho jobs stored locally as XML files and generates Airflow code replicating the existing ETL workflows into Airflow DAGs and tasks, maintaining existing dependencies and functionalities. The generated code will use standard Airflow operators wherever they are available, and if no standard operators are available, the tool will generate custom code and operators wherever possible. This tool will not completely automate the migration of existing Pentaho pipelines into ready-made Airflow code. Rather, it will significantly ease the burden on developers for migrating the Pentaho ETL jobs to Airflow. It can be daunting to migrate the Pentaho jobs, tasks, and transformations manually. It would be an extensive labor process to analyze them, write the code for them in Airflow, and establish the dependencies between the tasks. It can be very expensive, and businesses may have to wait for a long time before their ETL jobs are migrated to Airflow. This tool can help shorten the time significantly to migrate the ETL jobs to Airflow. Having said that, some Pentaho tasks are not currently supported by the tool, but still, the tool creates a skeleton code for them. In phase 2, developers will be required to make certain modifications within the generated code to ensure the desired functionality. This will give developers an opportunity to reevaluate and increase efficiency and performance better suited to their business objectives. Our tool will instantly supply developers with a code base in Airflow that can be modified however is necessary by developers to best suit their business requirements. Developers can then leverage Airflow's robust extensibility, scalability, and flexibility to execute their workflows on premises or in the cloud, minimizing the time necessary to reproduce the functionality of their existing projects as code. To demonstrate the functionality of this tool, we'll be using an existing Pentaho job. Within the Pentaho GUI, I have a job open, and this wrapper job consists of two subjobs. And the success of the wrapper is dependent on the success of the subjobs. Also, as you can see, each job in the Pentaho GUI has corresponding XML code that contains the instructions and parameters for the job. Here we can see the Airflow code automatically generated by our tool. At the top of the file, we can see the original file name from which this code was generated. We can also see that the necessary modules for this code to run as a DAG have automatically been imported. We can also see that a DAG has been created with the name of the Pentaho job. The start date and schedule interval we've provided in the DAG definition are configurable arguments developers can tailor to their needs. Further down in the code, we can see that the dependent subjobs from the Pentaho GUI have been populated as DAGs themselves within a trigger DAG run operator, and that their dependencies have been maintained automatically within the Airflow code by the tool. The trigger DAG run operator has its own configurable arguments developers can utilize to modify how their DAGs run within Airflow. Starting this job as a DAG will trigger the subjobs as DAGs, and their success will lead to the success of the job as a whole within Airflow. Back in the marketing wrapper job, by selecting the marketing select PC auth job, I can open the referenced object and see the nested components. Here we can see multiple nested transformations, as well as an SQL component. Each nested transformation is also accessible. So I'll select the marketing select PC auth transformation and then access the nested components there. The table input component stores an SQL query whose result will be passed to the next component, a text file output component. This text file output component writes the results of the query to a file with the specified path, and extension. This is an example of the nesting possible within the Pentaho GUI. The Marketing Select PC Auth job we access from the Pentaho GUI is represented here as Airflow code generated by our tool. Again, we can see the original file from which the code has been generated. We can also see that all the necessary modules have been imported for this code to run as a DAG. The nested transformation components we observed earlier are now their own modules and are imported into the main job. The comment instructing developers to define the database variable in the Airflow UI is an example of some of the modifications a developer may have to make to ensure functionality. Run details, such as scheduling, are configurable within this code. The SQL component we saw earlier in the GUI has been populated as code automatically. The nested transformations, now imported as modules, can be called from within this job while maintaining their dependencies. The entire job, as well as its subjobs and transformations, have been lifted and shifted by the tool into Airflow code. The Marketing Select PC Auth transformation we access from the Pentaho GUI is represented here as Airflow code, generated by our tool. We can see the original file from which the code has been generated and the necessary modules the tool has imported for this code to run as a DAG. I've already replaced the placeholder variables within the code the comment instructs us to replace. The table input and text file output components from the Pentaho jobs have been replicated as tasks of the same name here. The tool has automatically generated functions to replicate their functionality and use them as callables for those tasks. The query to CSV function replicates the functionality of the table input component, and the copy file function replicates the functionality of the text file output component. The transformation is then defined as a task group, where the callable for each task is specified to be used when the transformation is run, while preserving the task's dependency. Developers can further customize and optimize this functionality for their business needs as desired. Here in the Airflow UI, we can see that the code the tool has created has been picked up by our containerized Airflow server and populated as DAGs. The wrapper job, as well as its components, are listed here. By selecting the wrapper job and navigating to the Graph tab, we can see that the graphical display of our workflow is virtually identical to the Pentaho GUI, and that the dependencies between our jobs have been accurately replicated in Airflow by the tool. Both of our subjobs must run in order for our wrapper job to end in success. In the Pentaho GUI, I've opened the Marketing Select PC Auth job we've been working with so far in this demonstration. In the Airflow UI, by navigating to the DAG of the same name created by our tool and opening the Graph tab, I can see that the components within Pentaho have been replicated as task groups of the same name in Airflow by our tool, and that their dependencies within the workflow have been maintained. By opening the Marketing Select PC Auth transformation in the Pentaho GUI, I can see the individual components that comprise the transformation. This same functionality is available in the Airflow UI, as I can expand a task group with the click of a button and see the individual tasks within. This easy-to-use interface allows for quick navigation of our workflow. Also, by selecting an individual task in the Airflow UI, I can see additional information, such as instance details, detailed log information to assist debugging, and XCOM data. This concludes our demonstration. As you can see, the functionality and dependencies of the Pentaho job have been automatically preserved by our tool. The tool generated the Airflow code for all of the Pentaho jobs and transformations related to the example that we used for this demo. It was able to maintain the dependencies exactly as they were defined in Pentaho. Even the job and transformation names were virtually identical. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this demo.